school until just recently. However, we are going to have that going down the road, and I would like to see us work closely with the city to both meet our goals, perhaps trying to take care of some of the other school needs besides the high school by putting them into the approval agreements. Thank you.
And Ms. Miller.
Well, I think the relationship between the city and the district is really the most important relationship. I think if the city and the district can get on the same page and really recognize the needs of this community, including the schools, working with the developers will even be easier. I think we all have formed relationships with developers. As a school board member, it's the first time I have had relationships directly with developers. In the past, it's always been through our city liaison committee or with the superintendent and the city manager. But because of what we've been experiencing, I would say that all 5 trustees and all 5 city council members are always meeting, talking, and working with developers. I think that relationship, I think somebody mentioned it, needs to grow. I think joint meetings more often could be helpful because now we have a lot of common ground to cover, and I think having those discussions publicly would be helpful. I think one of the things I hear from the public is the transparency issue, and I really believe that although we may feel that we're being transparent, we could do more to have the community feel comfortable and be part of those conversations. I also think that we've gotten creative in terms of joint projects and joint use, and I think that's something that we need to do a little bit more of. And I think in the second high school, I think it will have, our relationship with the city will help us get that built. Thank you.
All right, our final question before closing statements. What do you view as the greatest strength of Dublin schools that you would want to reinforce and protect? And what do you view as the greatest weakness that you would want to address? And we'll start with Ms. Blackman.
This is a really great question. I have a lot of little people in my family going to the school, so my first point of view is going to be from the eyes of somebody who's about half my height. And what I think is wonderful about our schools is our teachers. They are amazing. The way that they reach out to the students and the quality of education, how they work with each individual student's capabilities, skills, and perhaps sometimes difficulties in learning, I think is one of the greatest assets we have in this district. We put a lot of pressure on our teachers to help our students achieve, and I think they do a stellar job. So if I talk about one of the things that I would focus heavily on, it would be that we are not meeting some of our needs in terms of career and college readiness. I know it's been discussed by others, but although we have made great strides over the last several years, we have a very long way to go. We need to be looking not just within what the state requirements are to go to a state school, but also the fact that our students are competing against students all across the United States to get into those wonderful, incredible programs. And there is plenty of data that shows that that first stepping stone is the one that leads you forward the rest of your life. We can't always look at high school as just a great experience, but we need to understand what we're trying to do for our students. John F. Kennedy had a great quote that I often reflect upon. It says that we cherish our children's future. High school is a stepping stone for that future. And so, thank you.
Ms. Miller?
Well, I would say the greatest strength of Dublin schools that I would want to protect, I can't just say one thing, but I definitely would agree with Ms. Blackman about our teachers. We have some amazing dedicated teachers, especially given the amount of mandates and the amount of changes that are happening in education right now. It is a really hard time to be a teacher, and our teachers continue to remain dedicated to our students. But I would also say our rich programs. We have such a variety of programs that offer something for every child. We're focused on the whole child. Our career technical education program is one of the model programs in the area. We have a regional ROP program. We have pathways that lead directly to careers in so many different fields, from biomedical sciences and engineering to video production and nursing, and we keep growing that program. And it's based on a lot of partnerships and regional work with other school districts. And so those are some of the things I want to protect, and I also want to protect the programs that are looking at the whole child. We have a program called Capturing Kids' Hearts, which trains teachers on how to connect with students and why that's important. We have over 200 teachers that have been trained. I'm avoiding getting to the greatest weakness. Because I was thinking and I thought, oh God, I'm second. I'm not sure about weakness. I think one of the weaknesses is our support systems for our leadership. I think our leaders and our principals, we put assistant principals at every school, yet we didn't provide a lot of leadership and a lot of training. And I think we are not utilizing those assets to the best of our ability because we have great people in place. Thank you.
And Mr. Hakeem?
Sure, I would agree to that. One of our strengths and biggest strength is the rigor in our programs, which offer our students to succeed to the best, and we have shown this every single year. And the measure of it is our success at the college. The A through G requirements, we meet it consistently, we meet it better than many of the surrounding areas. And I would say that the strength comes from the strength of hiring the excellent and the best teachers we have. We retain them, we have been delivering that at every junction, and we have proved it year over year. Our greatest weakness, I would say, and I will come back to the strengths more of how we can improve, but the greatest strength, our greatest weakness is the part that we do not portray what Dublin has come through in the past 10 years through economic crisis, where we have improved upon, and that's not reflected back to the community, and we need the community. We cannot build anything without the community, especially with the measure edge and everything. So we need to engage the community with more communication, more direct communications, and ensure that they are important stakeholders in everything which we do. We also need to ensure that there is accountability for what we do, especially with Measure Edge, that we are accountable for what we prioritize, as well as ensure transparency in what we do, even though we are doing to the best of our abilities and everything, it doesn't get reflected accordingly. So those are the areas I would say are our weakness, but we should concentrate on the strength. Our strength is our programs, our schools.
Ms. Wong?
Yeah, I can see that the high school have excellent programs. We have excellent teachers, and then we also have a lot of modern technology applied to the schools. So it's a very rich environment to stimulate the student to be successful in their future. And then, however, I can see some weakness. I understand that there are only 5 counselors for the whole school, and then it's equal to 1 counselor have to do 500 students, more than in China. So I would like to have more counselors, and then this counselor can help the student to set up the area of interest in, and then they can kind of assist them to choose the curriculum towards their area of interest in, and then group them with the partnership with the in their future career. And then also I think we can spend more readiness for the student for their career college readiness. Thank you.
And Mr. Cunningham?
Thank you. I would agree that programs are our greatest strength. Our students are prepared. Our students compete quite well against anybody in this country. We have students at Harvard, we have students at Stanford, all the UCs, London School of Economics, and we have students who went through our ROP program and are wildly successful in the entertainment industry. It's incredible what our students can do and what they're prepared to do, because we have great teachers, we have great staff, and we have strong programs. Our programs are rigorous, and I would put our programs up against anyone. We have the highest graduation requirements in the area. We were the first ones to do it. And we continue to find ways to have our students be pushed so they can be better. But on the weakness side, I think I would have to agree that we sometimes don't do a good job celebrating our successes in public and letting people know how great we are. We need to really work on showing people what a great school system this is. And it's obvious because people are moving here. People don't move to a place where the schools are bad. So we have great schools, we have great teachers, and the leadership in this district from the sites on up has been really strong and has really brought us to where we are today.
Mr. Giannini?
The depth of programming here is great. My son had the opportunity in 7th grade to take criminal medicine. What other school I've ever heard of has criminal medicine as an elective? So one of the great things about having the population we have a lot of classes we can take, a lot of great programs. But also have challenges too with that. The staff and teachers are great too. We have a great staff, we have some pretty darn good teachers too. And that's all moving forward in a trying time. It's hard to find good teachers right now, and we're somehow attracting great teachers. Our scores are good, great teachers. The one thing is kind of, with me being so involved in school for the last 6 years and being on the committees, and the outreach to public is a little bit challenged. Both of those committees took a little while to get rolling. Once we did, they're good committees. Some of the outreach to the public has been a little bit spotty. It's improved over the years, and I do think with Dr. Boozer now in charge, things will definitely get into perspective and move forward with communication with the public.
And Mr. Charrier.
Thank you. Yeah, I want to echo what I've heard here already is that our greatest strengths are our instructional staff. I have been very pleased with almost every teacher that I have met. They are great. They are really dedicated, and they take the time to make sure the students learn. And that is by far our greatest strength. As far as weakness goes, as I mentioned before, I think we're about to run out of space to maintain that, but we've already touched on that. And so in number 2 for our weaknesses, I'd like to think that it's our overall programs to get a well-rounded education. For instance, we have ROP, and that's for like someone that wants to go into that field, like auto repair or something. But we've gotten rid of the auto shops, the metal shops, the wood shops, the electronics classes. I'm a civil engineer. We have interns, high school and college, that don't know how things work. And how can you be a good engineer if you don't know how things work? How can you be a mechanical person if you've never seen the workings of mechanical things like a car? We need to get that back.
We've gone through all 7 questions. We're on time. We've all been very respectful of the 90 seconds, so I appreciate